You'll need your mats. You'll need your chair. The back of the chair is for balance. It should be about waist height. I don't think any other chair is higher than that, unless you have just a very abnormal chair. And that's it. So you can modify any of the movements. We're going to start with lower body. Here are my, handy dandy cans of beans. So I'll use that a little bit for the upper body portion, but it's not required. Okay, you don't need music unless you'd like it. Start in our first position. So that's heels together, toes apart, turn out to the corners of the room. Whether or not you need your chair for the warm-up, you can use it, but I'm actually going to go side to side. Heck, my arms are cut off. Okay, we're just doing a side bend. I'm moving my arms, so I'm getting range of motion in my shoulders. But I'm also, as I reach up, I'm bending and stretching the side of my body. Good. So try not to view it as like you're collapsing, but as you're reaching high and then lengthening one side of your body. So we're getting range of motion, like I said, in our shoulders, dynamically moving to warm up our body, get the blood flowing. This is a low impact class, so we're not really going to be getting like a heart rate up super high or anything, but you'll probably sweat a little bit because we're going to be working our muscles. Good. Let's go into our plie, bending into those knees. I have some set warm up, but I don't do it in the same order. So just a little knee bend, getting sort of into the quads, a little opening up the hips. We're not bending deeply, and we're not bending so much that our knees shoot past our toes and that our heels lift up. So if you bend your knees so much and your heels lift up, try not to do that because that's putting too much pressure on the knees. We want to have that support of the heel on the ground. I'm keeping my shoulders engaged just to kind of warm up my upper body, but that doesn't mean I'm elevating my shoulders. I'm working the shoulder muscles by elevating the arms to just under shoulder heights. Good. If you'd like to use your chair for balance, we're going to go onto our toes now, keeping the legs straight. If you want to challenge your balance, you can hold your arms up high. You can also hold your arms here or here. Arms are pretty much optional in terms of what you want to do with them. Like I said, you can always use that chair for balance. Warming up our calves here. Things to think about. Yes, we're directly working our calves, but we still want our abdominals nice and braced. We want good posture, so our chest is up. And pretty much that applies to every exercise we do. Okay, let's combine the two. So we're going to go down into the plie, up onto our toes. Take your time with this. And again, my arms, I'm just getting some arm variations. You absolutely can hold on to the back of the chair the entire time. When you're holding onto the chair, it's just a light fingertip or two on the chair for balance. We don't want to grip the chair too tightly. If you end up falling while holding onto the chair, I guarantee the chair will fall with you. But there's no falling in this class. You won't fall. Okay, last two. And last one. Okay, let's warm up our hip flexors. So anytime we move a leg, it's always going to be the outside leg. This is considered the inside leg because it's next to the chair. One bent, one straight. Oh, sorry. What I meant to do is lift my arm, and then I just straightened my leg instead. Sometimes my brain and my body just... All right, so I'm holding my arm out to the side. This lifting, hip flexors, both times. If you put your hand on your hip flexor, it's this really big, strong band of muscle right at the crease of your hips. You can feel it pop out. When our knees bent, our quads aren't engaged, but when our legs are straight, the quads are engaged. So we're just kind of alternating between the two. Do one more. Good. I'm going to move my chair to the other side. Feel free to do what works for you, whether it's you turning around, but we just need the other leg on the outside so you don't kick your chair. I'm assuming most people have chairs like mine. It weighs like, I don't know, 5 pounds maybe. Not too much. But if you are using some 100-pound chair, don't bother lifting it. And if you're using like a table, definitely don't move that table. About 3 or 4 more. Let's do one more pair. And we can actually start our first movement on this side. We're actually gonna start with what I consider a single leg squats. But basically, if you're squatting or doing a plie, it looks like that. But if you're doing it with one leg, the outside leg is off the ground and all your weight is on that bending knee. But you still want to think about alignments and safety principles. So you're going as deep as you did when you did this plie. Okay? Oh, you don't need to lift the leg, sorry. I'm just demonstrating that it's a single leg. But what I mean by that is all your weight's on this leg is still on the ground. I'm basically kind of like lightly dragging it out there and in. So it's still in contact with the floor, but the standing leg should fatigue. You're not looking for the other leg to have any weight on it. Imagine you have an injured ankle and you don't want to put any weight on it. Okay, so now that we've kind of warmed this up and set this motion, we're going to go down and stay down. So a little endurance. At any point, if you need to stand up and take a break, do it. But we're here and little lifts. Good. If you want to work on your balance, take your hands off that chair, and it's always right there for you. You can also just have your hands like this. Don't worry about, does it look like ballet? You can have your hands hovering just above the chair, and if you need it, you grab it. If you don't, it's there. Okay, so now we're going to combine the two. Down, lift, down, up. This gives your legs a little break. I know we just really fatigued it when we stayed down there the whole time. We're continuing to work it, but with a little break built in. So I'm going down, single leg squat, lift, stay in the squat, lower, and stand. And there is no set tempo or pace that you need to move at. One reason I don't count and don't count well is because everyone's kind of going at their own pace. The idea behind this class is that you fatigue the leg muscles. The muscles get overloaded, they get worked out enough that it has that burning sensation, and that's how it gets stronger. All right, let me just see what's going on here. Yes, so don't worry about your camera. I mean, it's always amazing to see your beautiful faces, but I realize that usually when I see your faces, I can't see your legs at all. But no worries, no worries. Okay. Is our standing leg pretty fatigued? You guys like tired of it? Okay, in that case, let's shake it out and then do everything on the other side. You want to reach the same amount of fatigue on both sides. It's kind of a rough estimate. And the reason why I also don't emphasize, I mean, it's important to be symmetrical, don't get me wrong. We should always do right and left. But a lot of us are either right dominant or left dominant, meaning one side is stronger than the other. So even if I try to make us do exactly 50 on each side, it could be that 50 on the right side is pretty easy and you can only get to like 30 on the left because your left is not as strong. So really it's about trying to push yourself to your limits on both sides. All right, so let's do the single leg squat. If you need to set that up again, just remind yourself, how low am I bending? There it is. And then that inside leg looks the same as if I did this. And if you want to work those arm muscles, so this shoulder muscle is isometrically contracted, meaning it's contracted, but it's not moving. It's like holding a plank. All your muscles are engaged, but it's not actively moving. All right, so our single leg stretch. Again, all the weight on that inside leg. That outside leg is very little pressure. Just kind of want to glide along the floor. I'm trying to roughly count around 16. Reach and pull. All right, so let's kind of burn out our leg muscles. So we're going to go down and hold, lift, lift, reaching to the corners of the room. So this leg right now is isometrically contracting. It's fully engaged, but I'm no longer standing up and down. Good. The standing leg, yes, it's definitely burning, but you should start to feel a little bit of fatigue also in the outside leg, the quads, and the hip flexors. Good. Feel free to come out of this at any points. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and then we're going to combine the two. So we go down, lift, lower the outside leg, and stand. Plie down, lift, lower, and stand. So this feels great, right? We're standing, our legs are not bent. Try about 4 more. Should definitely be nearing that muscular fatigue. But again, we're giving our leg that little break. Maybe 2 more. We do a lot of reps here in bar. Okay. So now we're going to kind of combine the two sides, sort of alternating. And you are actually going to face your chair. I'm going to show you what I would look like if I was facing my chair and holding here, but the chair is going to block my view. So this is what it looks like. You're going to go out like that, in, out, in, out. So notice this is the plie. We don't come out of it. In, out, in, out. So I'm facing my chair. You're going to face your chair. It just you can't tell as much when I'm doing this like profile view. In, out, in, out. And then once you get familiar with this movement pattern, you actually probably don't need the chair for balance, but I want you to see if you can pick up the pace. You're not going to be jumping, although if you want to, you can. You can do anything you want in this workout. It's your workout. But to really, almost like this foot knocks the other out. So we are picking up the pace a little bit. And the thing is, it challenges our abs and our upper body to stay still. right? Because it's easier to kind of like straighten up and bounce, but if you look at my head, it's the same height. So feel free to do it not facing your chair if you like. So maybe it'll get your heart rate up a little bit. But here's the next challenge. How are we doing here? How are we doing? Yeah, you don't really need, oh, you guys, I love you. You guys just copied my arms. I didn't even know what I was doing. But the next challenge is, if you'd like to try it, is the leg is in the air. So there's a little more balance here. My heel knocks the other foot out. Knock out. It just kind of pushes it out there. And a little balance here, right? This is sort of ballet inspired. So, and there's a ballet move where they're like, tap, tap, lift. We're not gonna do that part. Okay, so I would say the most challenging part about this is just keeping your head at the same level, because this is easy, right? Just go on the side. Oh, well, actually that got my heart rate up. All right, so let's finish up with the last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, I almost fell there. All right, we're gonna go into a curtsy lunge. So before we go into the curtsy lunge, please know that it is always okay to do what we call the basic lunge, which is stepping straight back. I'm just showing you we're gonna actually do it from this way. So I have stepped my front leg, the leg that's closer to you, I should say, back. It's 90 degrees, nice long stride. And the difference between a basic lunge and the curtsy lunge is the back leg crosses behind. So basic lunge, curtsy lunge. Now, if you know what a curtsy looks like, it kind of looks like this. You just, like, you know. So it's also like this, similar to sort of fifth position-ish. Don't worry about positions. But here's the exercise. You're either doing basic lunge back, little. So little bend, big bend. Little bend, big bend. I don't want you to go big bend here because that's not great for the knees, but it's not bad for the knees if you do a little bend. Deep, shallow. Curtsy-wise, let me show you. Big long stride curtsy, normal curtsy. Big long stride curtsy, little curtsy. Okay, so whether or not you want to face your chair, or you can do it on the side of holding your chair for balance, pick one leg. That same leg is going to be constantly moving. So the exercise is about curtsies, but again, take the option to do a basic lunge. So long stride, short stride. Curtsy. Hold that chair if you need. So you're straightening your leg just enough so you can move the leg forward. Okay, but I'm not actually standing up straight all the way. Now, it's okay if you do. It's okay, but know that if you stand all the way up, you take away the work out of your legs. If you stay bent, the work stays in your legs. Specifically, the front leg, because the front leg is bending deeper, staying bent. Whereas this back leg that's moving, it gets off the ground, which means it gets a little brick. Good. Long stride curtsy, short stride curtsy. Do 4 more. Starting to feel it in that front leg? I know I am. Keep that chest up, abs braced. Remember all those other muscles, all those other posture muscles? Okay, I cannot handle it anymore. I didn't reach my limits with that. How are you doing? All good? All right, remember you can take a break at any time. Okay, so I'm actually going to continue facing this way. I'm just putting my other leg behind. My other leg behind and crossing behind for my curtsy. Long stride curtsy, short stride. Long, short, deep bend, less bend. Got it? Use your chair if you need to for balance. Have your arms out if you need to for balance. Whatever works for you. Each one of these pairings counts as 2 lunges, but I'm only counting the deep one, the long stride one. Looking good. See what I mean? You're like sweating a little bit, but it's not like boot camp. 2. 1 more. Well, actually, I don't know. Did we do the same number? I actually know that my right leg is stronger than my left when it's in front. All right, last 2. That's terrible. I'm such a terrible counter. Okay. We're going to get into some upper body movements, but that doesn't mean our legs have ended. So I'm going to throw in some leg work as well as the arm work. If you don't have dumbbells or cans of beans, that's fine. You don't actually need it. Move this. Over here. So this is all about high repetition, low weights. And again, with just the arms, you can have a loose fist movement. Okay. Sorry about this super loose shirt. I usually try to wear something more fitted so you can see my form. I just cannot find any clothes. I think I need to do laundry. There, that's my confession for the day. All right, so I know our legs are tired, but we're gonna go into that little squats. This one, you want your butt back, feet are hip distance apart. I'm showing you profile because, let me show it this way against the back. Black background, you want your spine flat, not rounded, okay? And we're gonna start with rear flies. So again, either a loose fist, or hold on to those dumbbells, elbows are slightly bent, and every lift, I'm lifting as high as I can, squeezing my shoulder blades together. Every time, shoulder blade squeeze. So we're not gonna lock out the arms, because when you lock out the elbows, you just put pressure on the elbow joint. We're not here to put pressure on the elbow joints. We're here to work the arm muscles, the rear deltoid muscles, our upper back muscles. Basically, these are our postural muscles. If you are rounding your spine and doing this, then we're not working the muscles in the proper way. So really, really try to, if you can see yourself in your screen, even if you're not showing me your video, you should be able to see yourself in your screen. But look at your spine, do profile. And then don't keep staring at me sideways because you don't want your neck strained. So just align your head and neck to your spine and look at the ground. So it's not bar without pulses. I'm gonna face you guys again. So we're gonna go up, maybe about a quarter of the way down, up, and then down. So all the way up, a little pulse down, all the way up again, and down. So basically we're doing one pulse. There's that one pulse. One pulse. Well, if we can do one pulse, let's do 2 pulses. Let's go up, halfway down, up, halfway down, up, and then down. That was 2 pulses. There's pulse 1, pulse 2. Yes, I know. Your legs, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of this little squat. But it is all about endurance. Okay, I'm tired of counting 2 pulses, so we're just gonna pulse nonstop. This means I don't have to count. Lift it up, pulse. So small range of motion. We're not going all the way down. We're staying near the peak of the motion. I'm gonna count though for 16, 15, 14, good. Small range of motion increases the intensity felt in the muscle because you're not really giving it a break. 8, 7, 6, 5, squeeze, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, stand on up. Give your shoulders a little break, bicep curls. Now, if you'd like to work on your balance a little bit and incorporate some lower body with this, you can alternate one leg forward. You can either bend the knee, working those hip flexors, or you can sweep the leg out straight. Let me show you profile. There's the straight version. For a moment, you're only on one leg, so there's a little balance. And then here's the bent knee version. And if you're undecided, like I just don't know if I should bend or straighten my leg, well, you can alternate, right? You can do bents and straight and straight. But this is the upper body portion, so the focus here is on your arms, just adding a little bit of legs. If adding the legs or the balance take away from the arms, then just focus on the arms. This is your full range bicep curl. I just happen to be curling it to the corners of the room. I could curl it to the front. It's just variations. I think it's sometimes easier for you guys to see. And also, when I curl out to the side, I can really pull my elbows in. I really want to secure my elbows next to my body, because one of the most common errors of bicep curls is that people swing their elbows forward, or they swing their elbows back. So there's too much swinging. You want to keep your elbows still. Now, this is the full range. So you know where I'm going with this. We're going to do partial range. So in between, if you divided the full range into thirds, here's the bottom third, here's the upper third, I want the middle third. And you can still keep doing this. You can keep doing the legs. I don't even know what I'm doing with the legs anymore. So mid-range, partial range. Now I will say that biceps are one of our stronger muscle groups. So you might not feel this, just given that we don't have enough weights in our hand or enough resistance that challenges the muscle group. So that's really important about weight training or resistance training. You always want to pick a weight that challenges the muscles, that allows you to feel fatigue. If the weight's not heavy enough, then you got to change the range of motion, or you got to add more reps to it so that you do feel the fatigue. We're not going to be here for 100 reps though, so I'm going to actually change it up, reach out and in. Let's keep our feet on the ground for this. Out and pull. I'm not just letting my elbows fall down, I'm actively pulling my elbows. Like I have two teddy bears, very soft and cuddly, and I'm going to squeeze them right underneath my armpits. That makes no sense, of course, but it's just thinking of squeezing something with your elbows and your triceps. Getting our shoulders involved here. So when we reach out to the side, that's our deltoids. All right, now that we've got this coordinated, you can stay standing, or if you'd like to go into a nice wide plie. So I'm taking my feet really wide. I'm turning my knees out. Opening up those hips. And now keep your arms out, but not locked. That's locked. Slight bend, pulse. If you want to pulse with your legs too, you can. If you don't want to be in a squat, get out of the squat. You can do it standing. Focus on the shoulders, posture, chest up, abs tight, or pulsing. You're going to feel this in your arms, probably sooner than your legs. But you might feel it in your legs, because we already did our legs. This is your workout. So choose the components you want to do. Okay, so if you are in your squat, we're going to go side to side in a lunge. Not a deep lunge, but it's a side lunge. You straighten one leg and you bend the other. You gotta keep working those shoulders. They're just, my dumbbells or my beams are just about shoulder height, a little bit below. If you're going to err on the side, err on it being a little lower than being high. Good. 2 more on each side, and then we'll give our arms a break. I should say, nope. Give our shoulders a break. We're not gonna give arms a break. We're actually gonna do triceps. Okay, so once again, we're in our bent over position. So this is similar to the first movement I did, right? Where I had my feet hip distance apart. I shifted my butt back and my torso. So you can see my elbows on the arm far side. That's where you want your elbows to be. Always seen. So if I straighten my arm, you can always see that elbow. You shouldn't see it disappear and then see it again and then disappear. Okay, we're gonna do that for both sides, but I just wanted to show you that it's really easy to tell when your arm has dropped, your elbow has dropped. You can't see it on the other side. Straighten, bend. Straighten, bend to 90 degrees. We're not gonna go less than 90. All the way straighten and bend. Your full range of motion is 90 degrees. All the way straight. This is the one time you can lock out your elbow. This is probably the one time you don't feel like locking out your elbow. It's because we're lifting weight towards the straightening of the elbow, which is how we work the triceps. So the most amount of exertion you can give your triceps is by straightening the elbows. There's a lot of postural muscles, ab muscles engaged when you're in a tipped position. But my spine is still straight, remember. All right, cut this range in half, 45 degrees. All the way straight, halfway, 45. Roughly 45. We're not in geometry here. So just don't go to 90. That's what pulsing is. Cutting down the range of motion. Four, 3, 2, 1. Stand up for a moment. Go into a lunge variation. So this is a normal lunge. A lunge variation is you have your back leg straight. I have my heels down. I'm still going to be tilted slightly forward. So basically my spine and my back leg are in one straight line. So I'm not tilted here. Okay? Bend those elbows and squeeze. Palms are facing in. So set this up move first. Good, now add a kickback. So elbows, straighten, bend, and down. Now I have a lot of weight in this front leg, so this is where the leg is working still. Lift elbow, straighten, bend elbow, down. A little bit of triceps, but also lats. Squeeze those shoulder blades. So I'm pulling elbows up here, squeezing my shoulder blades. I keep my shoulder blades squeezing the entire time I straighten my arms. Give me 4 more of these. Notice my front knee is not like in front of my ankle. It's like right over my ankles. Okay, let's switch sides. You don't have to turn around. Just step back. It's a nice calf stretch back there, yeah? All right. We're going to do the same thing, but with a slight variation. I'm going to actually show you from this angle. So instead of my palms facing in, my palms are facing towards my knees. I pull my elbows wide. And then you can actually strain the arms to the side. This is a little more challenging because our elbows and arms are farther away from our body. But you should still feel that squeezing of the shoulder blades, the contraction of the triceps. When you naturally lift the elbows and your palms are facing in, when you straighten your arms, just let what happens when you straighten your arms. Try not to do any other twisty sort of thing with your fists or your dumbbells or your beans. So keep your wrists in neutral.
Again, strong postural muscles, so I'm not rounding like so. Check that front leg's knee, it's right over the ankle, back heel down. Feet should be about hip distance apart, so you have some balance. Last 4, 3, 2, last 1. Okay, going into our push-ups. Still a little bit of upper body, but taking it to the mat, entering our abs phases. So do a little bit of Pilates here, but not much, just so I can keep my 2 classes different. Now for push-ups, I can be kneeling, so my knees are under my hips, my hands are wide, and I bend my elbows to 90 degrees. This is what you want to do, 90 degrees bend. Okay, right there. If you don't feel challenged or you want more challenge, walk your hands forward. This is called knee push-ups. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. If you want even more challenge, you're on your toes. Bend those elbows to 90 degrees. Now, if you're on your toes and the most you can bend is this much, then I encourage you to go back onto your knees or in a kneeling position, because you want to train your arms and your body to do that full range of push-up motion. All right, and once you get strong in one position, you progress to the next position and the next until you're on your toes doing 90-degree bent push-ups. All right, you're gonna do 12 push-ups. You guys have already started. And if you didn't count, well, start counting now. Start from 1. Just kidding. Do as many push-ups as you like. It's all about the challenge. So whatever number challenges you, do it. Okay, any version you want. Knees, kneeling, toes. Don't forget to breathe. So I'm not sure what number you're on, but I'll join you on the last 4. Inhale, down, exhale up. Good. So usually I don't have to demonstrate push-ups because everyone's done push-ups. But I like to emphasize about getting that wide hand position and then getting the elbows bent to 90 degrees. So we want to work that full range. Now, imagine if you're doing half range, like all these pulses. Yes, that would definitely be in itself a different kind of work. In fact, let's do that, but in a tricep position. So in triceps, you want your hands narrow and you want your elbows tight. Regular push-ups, elbows out, okay? Let's try a full range here. I'm doing it on my knees. It's hard. Bend those elbows, hug it, squeeze it close to your rib cage. My elbows are still bending to about roughly 90 degrees. Now we'd like you to do a pulse. So you go down, halfway up, down, all the way up. Let's just do 8. There's 2. Little pulse. 3. 4. If you'd like to do down and up, and take out the pulse, that's fine. Little extra overload on those triceps. Okay, so now that we've got to our mats, anytime, you can always leave your feet on the ground if you have any lower back issues. I am going to be elevating my legs, but you can keep your feet on the ground if you like. So here, basic crunch. So I reach my hands behind my head and then help reach forward, but it just helps me with getting lift in my shoulder blades. But you can keep your hands right behind your head like this the whole time and support the neck. I'm going to give you another arm variation. Again, your feet can be down on the ground here. Totally fine. Another arm variation here. Reach, reach. Again, option to keep your feet on the ground, but if your legs are up and you want to try another variation of abs, straighten, bend, straighten. I'm currently straightening toward the ceiling, my legs mostly, but if you want even more challenge, you reach your legs lower. Now be careful about your lower back arching off the mat. It's really critical that your abs are very engaged so that it stays imprinted, that lower back stays imprinted. So kind of crunch together, shoulder blades up. Abs are still engaged as those limbs extend outward. Let's do 4 more here. Good. Last one. Keep it here. Obliques. I'll put my feet down for this one. Reach across over the opposite knee. So I'm not going too far over, okay? Just towards that knee. It's enough that it pulls one shoulder blade a little higher off the ground than the other. That's all you need for obliques. We've been at this for about 2 minutes, so just a couple minutes more, and then we're gonna do a little stretch and we're done. Two more on each side. Good, flip over. Give me a 30-second plank here. Elbows underneath the shoulders. Squeeze your abs, butt, and quads. Option to have your butt a little higher if you need. Option to drop to your knees if you need. About 15 seconds. Make sure you're breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Maybe about 2 more breaths to be about 10 seconds. Inhale. Exhale. In and out. Good. Give me a cat-cow stretch. Get some motion in your spine here. So we generally are looking for a neutral spine, a strong neutral spine throughout our bar class. And now that we're stretching, you can take your spine through its range of motion. You can do this standing if you'd like, as opposed to being on your knees, especially if it's not comfortable being on your knees. But I'm stretching my abs here. So I am pushing my hips forward. Good, we're gonna stretch the quads. At the same time, reach the opposite arm out to the side and behind you. So kind of stretches this chest here. This is called multitasking stretch. As I try not to lose my balance. Other side, so I'm actively reaching back. Stretch that chest. If you have a wall nearby, you can go up against that wall. All right, stretch that chest. Use it for balance. Okay, go into an inner thigh stretch. So this is a side lunge, but really focus on feeling the stretch here. So I'm pushing and settling into my hips. And now I'm going to shift a little lower, lift my toes up, and try to emphasize my hamstrings and calves. It's all connected anyways, right? The inner thigh into the hamstring. Should feel all that. So try the other side. If I first keep my feet on the ground and my toes kind of turned out, I should feel more inner thighs. So my toes are facing the corner of the room. But now when I direct the toes upward toward the ceiling and lift those toes up, it should change the emphasis of the stretch. So you never want to put your hands on the leg you're stretching because you're pushing basically against the way the knee should bend. So I'm putting all my weight on that bent leg. All right.
Quick tricep stretch and obliques. Obliques, tricep. And the leg that's on the same side, cross it behind. And the other side. Other leg, tricep, and lean. So getting our IT band, iliotibial band, which is down here, obliques, triceps. We spend a lot of time already like this. I'd rather us kind of get motion in our spine here. Round, arch, arms swing forward and back, chest opens, chest collapses, I guess. And then big arm circles. All right, you guys have accomplished a great amount of things all before 1 p.m. East Coast time and 10 a.m. West Coast time.